Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us with the for tonight's meeting of the Fall River Historical Commission. It is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. It is now 6 p.m. on the dot, and this meeting is being recorded and put on Fall River Government TV, which will also be available on YouTube as well. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. So if we can get a roll call, please.
Jonathan Lima, present.
Ashley DeCunha, present.
Rick Mancini, present.
Liz DeBlock, present.
Joyce Rodrigues, present.
And Jason Bouchard-Naraki, present. Connie Sewell is not here. She's not able to attend tonight. We have no open seats on the board. All right. First item on the agenda, item number 1, is to review and approve the minutes sent from Liz for September 19th, 2023.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the meeting.
Thank you. All right, I have a motion by Rick.
I second that motion.
Thank you. All right, motion by Rick and a second by Joyce for the approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Do we have any citizen input on any of the agenda items? Okay, bless you. None? We did receive correspondence. Item number 2, this was a letter sent from the Massachusetts Historical Commission regarding a survey and planning grant cycle received on September 21st, 2023. I did pass that around. So it's regarding a matching grant for the fiscal year 2024. The funds have not yet been determined based on the budget, but we are eligible to apply for any survey grants. And for any nominations or anything of that sort. Did you receive, I did put that all in the folder?
Emailed it.
I did,
Yeah.
okay, perfect, great, thank you. So item number 3, we have a notice of intent to demolish. This is 317 Hanover Street, the Rubens Small House. It is listed on the Fall River Register of Significant Structures. The applicant, South Coast Health, is seeking a renewal of the waiver of the 6-month demolition delay that was initially approved by the Historical Commission in November 2021. That ordinance or the waiver has since expired. So we do have, yes, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and stating your name with your address and who you're affiliated with.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Thomas Killoran, law offices at 350 North Main Street in Fall River,
Did
Massachusetts.
you use that microphone a little bit? Thanks.
Certainly. Sorry about that. Attorney Thomas Killoran, I have law offices at 350 North Main Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. I represent South Coast Hospital Group. As the chairman stated, the property at issue is 317 Hanover Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. South Coast and their representatives appeared before the commission, I think approximately about 2 years ago, seeking a waiver of the demolition delay, which I believe was granted at that time. As the chairman stated, there's been delay in this project moving forward, a few different hurdles and curveballs along the way that caused some delays, but South Coast is ready to move forward at this point. When they appeared before you, I was not present, but it's my understanding that South Coast made a couple of commitments to the commission, and they want to ensure the commission that they are willing to stand by those commitments today. One of which was to put sort of like a little memorial, a plaque, a bench in honor of Reuben Smalls, the prior owner of the property. Also to put a vegetative screen along the easterly border of the property, screening the parking area from the neighboring residences. And so we did submit some plans which show that memorial area, the bench and the placard, which will be situated on the northwesterly corner of the parcel of land. You can see there's some green landscaped areas abutting along Summerfield Street and then along the neighbor to the east of the property. So again, they're reflected on the plans that we've submitted to you. South Coast made that commitment 2 years ago. They certainly are standing by that commitment and want to ensure the board that all the representations that they made and committed to 2 years ago, they certainly will do so again. But as I stated, they're anxious to move forward with this project now. They think that this parking area would actually be a great benefit to not only the South Coast patients and staff, but also the neighboring houses that remain. As you know, they can get a bit congested over in that area, so anytime that they can expand their parking area, and also, you know, keep in mind the sensitivities of the surrounding neighborhood and try to keep some green spaces, they're certainly looking to do that. With that, and I also want to introduce, I do have William Burns from South Coast and Nicole Rosa with me this evening, who, in case I can't answer any question that the commission may have, hopefully they can. So with that, I'll yield and certainly entertain any comments or questions from the commission.
Thank you. Do we have any initial questions on?
No, you're keeping instead with what was originally proposed.
Correct.
It looks very good. I don't see any significant changes, as my recollection is.
Thank you.
I just have a general question.
Yes.
About the whole area. What's going on with Elizabeth House? At some point, I thought that building was coming down and maybe another building going up. Is there any information that you have on that?
Could you identify the Elizabeth House? I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Okay?
I believe it's the old nurses' dormitory across the street on Hanover. It's an
It's
old
the School of
historic-
Nursing.
Okay.
So the topic at hand is regarding 317 Hanover
Okay.
across the street. But if you do have any questions, we can,
Yeah.
if we may ask at a later date. or
Yeah,
email.
I mean, obviously, if I had the answer to your question, Ms. Rodriguez, I'd give it to you. Unfortunately, they feed me information on a need-to-know basis, and so they strictly
Yes.
gave me 317 Hanover, and that's really all I know about at this point, unfortunately.
Regarding so we have, when we initially had approved the waiver in 2021, we have new members of the board now. So regarding the Reuben Small house, so the house was surveyed in the 1980s. Architecturally, it's not that significant, but pertaining to the original owner of the house, there's more importance there. It does fit the criteria of being on the National Register, for example, but it's not listed on the National Register. Reuben Small, for those that might not know, he was from Provincetown, but he came to Fall River. He and his brother opened up a rope manufacturing company right around the corner. And he was the Parks Commissioner who got Olmsted Brothers back to Fall River to complete South Park, and then ultimately had them design North Park. So with his contribution as Parks Commissioner, we have two major parks from Olmsted Brothers that we have within our boundaries. So that is quite significant. So it's one of those examples of where the person is more important than the house.
Right.
So, and so regarding I do have a question regarding so this particular parking lot, is there any, because I do live just to be open, I do live in the neighborhood, not in the immediate vicinity, but there has been some encroachment with parking in the area, especially on Prospect and Linden Street. Is there any future plans to expand that parking lot down the line, or is this this is just consuming 317 Hanover and two adjacent houses that are not on the registry?
So for right now, this parking area is just those three houses
Okay.
that you referenced. But I know that the hospital, is actively keeps their eye on all neighboring properties.
Mhm.
Because obviously they want to expand, but they want to expand responsibly. They want to always keep in mind, the neighborhood and the impact that they have on the neighborhood, and also
Sure.
want to be able to provide, obviously, the utmost medical care,
Of course.
to its patients, and
Mhm.
make sure that its staff has ample parking as well.
Okay.
So they always have their eye on the area, but
Of course.
again, as of right now, I can't say that they're committed to any other particular
Okay.
piece of property.
Sure, thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question on the vegetative screen.
Yes.
Is that along the street? Is that Robeson Street, or is that abutting a residence?
So if you look on the easterly side, this is abutting along
probably
another piece of property. So it's identified as M17 Lot 35, now formerly owned by a Veronica Dunn.
Oh, that's on Summerfield Street.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Oh.
property is on the corner of Hanover and Summerfield.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
maybe I
That's personal
No, no, no,
I was
you're-
looking
you
at
got
a
it.
different area.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's okay, it's this is property here.
Yeah.
This is-
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, may I?
Sure, absolutely.
So Mr. Cunha,
We've got Hanover and
right,
Summerfield,
so
yeah.
Hanover, Summerfield, so the
So this is a
larger,
residence.
thicker vegetative
Mhm.
screen will be along the residents, and then there'll be some small plantings along Summerfield Street.
Gotcha, thank you.
And once a letter is received from us, how soon would demolition take place?
I know that the contractor who's gonna be doing the demolition has been retained and is looking to move forward, I think ASAP. We did have a conference call a few weeks ago. He seemed ready to go.
Okay.
I'll make a motion if there's no other questions or concerns. I'll make a motion that we extend the variance or the.
It would be a renewal at this
renewal.
point, yep.
Exactly.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
all right, so I have a motion by Rick and a second by Elizabeth, and this is to waive the 6-month demolition delay.
Right.
All right,
Or to extend the existing
extend.
one.
okay. Let's do that, let's extend that since it expired. Okay, so I have a motion by Rick and a second by Elizabeth to extend the waiver of the 6-month demolition delay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right,
Great,
excellent.
thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll send that letter over to you as soon as I can, so.
Great, thank you very
Excellent.
much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for attending. All right, thank you. Item number 4, this is in regards to 277 Brightman Street. This is formerly the Royal Theater on Brightman Street. It was listed on the Fall River Register of Significant Structures. The structure unfortunately was destroyed in a fire on September 19th, 2023, and has subsequently been demolished. So I am looking for approval to remove it from the Registry of Significant Structures.
I'll make a
Thank
motion
you.
that we remove it from the roll
Thank you.
of
Motion by
significant
Rick.
All right, I'll
structures.
second that motion.
Joyce, thank you. I have a motion by Rick and a second by Joyce to remove 277 Brightman
just a
Street.
Quick
Yes.
question
Sure.
before we finalize
Okay.
this. What's that process of removing something from the register?
So because it's not listed on the National Register, it's merely on the city registry, so that is maintained by us, by the Historical Commission. Any edits, any additions, things like that, so because we are the keeper of that registry, it's a mere just approving or declining things to get listed. Yep, so, but thank you. All right, so I have a motion by Rick and a second by Joyce to remove 277 Brightman Street from the registry. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, thank you. Under old business, we have item number 5, 710 Rock Street. This is a reconstruction of a side porch that was destroyed via car accident in April 2021. The property is located in the Highlands 40C Local Historic District. And hello, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and your
Sure.
address, please.
I'm Sandra Melanson, and I own 710 Rock Street.
Thank you.
Can I first say that I appreciate everyone's guidance in the book as well?
Excellent, thank you
Yes,
very
yeah.
much. Thank you, I'm glad that's
Speak in the
useful.
mic
Oh,
so
I'm
that.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's guidance on this, and I also, the book came to the house, which is a good,
The design guidelines.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, good
thank you.
design.
Yes, it's
Thank
a
you.
vital tool and it has
Yeah.
helped us out immensely with reviewing projects, so. I did send around the email for that you had sent over to me,
Yeah,
with
from
the list.
Mr. Cottrell, yep.
So the plan is to, if you wouldn't mind stating that what is happening with the side porch, just for public record.
Well, do you want me to
Or
say the
what-
history of it? Or? So it got demolished by a drunk driver. Probably going on 3 years now. And then I had someone replace it, not up to the standards of the historical district. And then I got really sick for about a year, and then, so, I kind of lost my whatever. I just kind of lost my enthusiasm to get it done quickly because I wasn't feeling well. And then I finally found someone that was familiar with the Historic Commission's parameters. So he is going to do the porch up to
Excellent.
the standards, yeah.
Thank you. And the list of material, did anyone have any questions on the list of material for this?
I
So-
think before the material
Yes.
was basically all plastic and,
So that's being removed, so any
Yeah.
PVC, that sort of thing, is
Yes.
being removed with, replaced with, wood, 1x4 mahogany decking, stair treads, handrail system is in wood, and that's all paintable, so that's even
Yes.
better, so.
Any details at all going on that porch, other than the
Um,
balusters?
I think it's pretty minimal.
Okay. Is there going to be some sort of a handrail placed
Yeah.
against the building also? The handrail will be on the porch, but is there going to be another handrail placed on the building?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
It wasn't like that originally, so
Oh,
I
it
think
was
they're
not. I'm
keeping it
just
to.
checking.
Yeah, I don't know, I think they're
That's why
keeping
I'm
it to the,
asking.
yeah.
All right.
It's, it's a common practice, so
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
checking.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the mahogany decking.
Oh, yeah.
That's very nice.
Yes,
Um,
and thank you for getting to this point and
Thank you, yes.
reconstructing the porch correctly. That's very, very impressive. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks for your help too, Mr. Mancini, when in the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions at all? So this would be for a certificate of appropriateness.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion by Ashley to approve.
I'll
And
second
I'll
the
s-
motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry
Thank you. All right, Ashley and Elizabeth. All right, I have a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness by Ashley and a second by Elizabeth.
All right,
All-
I'll second that motion.
Well, Elizabeth already seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Thank you. I will send that certificate over to you as soon as possible, so that way you can get going with the reconstruction. So that the certificate can be used for, it'll be used with your building permit. So
nice,
they'll
okay.
request a copy of that when you go to file for your building permit.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you, and thanks for all your guidance.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much.
following up
Yeah.
on that,
Yep.
too. That
Thank
was,
you.
that had to
Yeah.
be a shock.
Yeah, it was a shock. All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Melanson. Okay. All right. Item number 6 is 572 High Street, the Henry Davis House. This is a window replacement. This property is located in the Highlands 40C Local Historic District. It was initially denied on July 19th, 2022. We have representatives. If you wouldn't mind stating your name and the organization you're
Yes,
representing.
I'm Hilda Moniz. I'm the Vice President of Operations for the Fall River Deaconess Home.
I am, excuse me, Roger Birch. I work for Venture Window at 33 Freeway Drive in Cranston, Rhode Island.
You said 33 Freeway?
33, yes.
33, thank you. All right. If you wouldn't mind, just giving an overview of the project for the
Sure.
property.
I was called to take a look at the windows at the High Street property. They appear to be not original to the house. They look probably 40 to 50 years old, because they do have mostly vinyl jam liners and then wooden framed windows, single pane, which was very common for historical replacements in the late 70s, early 80s. Most of them have some disrepair to them, dry rot, rotted sills, rotted frames. A lot of the vinyl jam liners are cracked and damaged, which could be a water damage problem down the road. So after discussing the situation with Hilda, and I believe we spoke, we are proposing to use Trimline Ultra Fit windows. They are almost an identical replica to what's there in terms of how they're installed. They go in with vinyl jam liners. The sashes are installed separately, piece by piece, so it all goes in separate. It's not a full frame replacement window. As far as light, size of the window, virtually no change to what's there now. The only differences would be the exterior would be aluminum clad for maintenance and to last longer, obviously, and they would be double pane.
Okay.
The second floor right now has 2/1 grid pattern. The first floor has no grids, just glass. So we would maintain that same look on the second floor with a 2/1 with simulated divided light. So the grids would be inside the window and outside the
And
glass.
outside, okay.
So it would look very, very similar to what's there. We do most of the historic properties in the Providence area.
Okay.
Out of our office, and we use these windows routinely for historic replacement.
Okay, excellent. How many windows altogether?
37.
37, okay. And anyone have any questions on the application? So it was initially denied because the windows that were being proposed were vinyl replacements, which is not compatible with the, within the 40C. And I believe I did forward a copy of the design guidelines. Actually, I think you did receive a few copies of the design guidelines. So aluminum clad is in the design guidelines as one that is recommended. So it is a wood frame with, it'll be wood on the inside.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
What is the exterior trim?
The exterior trim on the window or on the casing that's out there now?
The casing.
Right
like-
now, it's wood casings.
Okay,
The house itself is aluminum sided, but the casings are still wood.
And the casings will be changed as well?
are they being replaced?
No. At this
They'll
point,
stay
we're
wood.
just doing the windows.
Okay.
Casings will stay the same.
So they're gonna be repainted, clean, scraped, repainted?
It looks like.
That would be a separate project.
Right,
Okay.
For a different time.
Mhm.
We're gonna be putting these in, if everything goes well, right around Christmas, so obviously any maintenance to the exterior would have to be done springtime. You can't paint in the cold,
Okay,
so.
but that's not in this budget?
No.
Okay.
When removing the windows for the replacement, just by the photos, it looks like the exterior casing is pretty damaged. So what's gonna be the replacement protocol for pieces that are gonna get broken and you're gonna have to
Sure,
pull
so the UltraFed's actually gonna come in and out from the inside of the building.
out? Okay,
These particular windows have wooden stops on the inside that are screwed into the frames. So we're just gonna unscrew the stops, take out the stops, pull out what's there, put in new jam liners all the way around, put the sashes in from the inside, and then put the stops
so
back up.
nothing should be,
So we're not really
Damaged.
touching the outside, so
Okay.
if there is any rot or damage, we won't do any more damage to it, we're not gonna
Got
touch
it.
it.
The term you used was virtually the same size. That's very subjective. Does that
It's,
mean a
it's
reduction
within
of
a
an
quarter
inch,
of an
half
inch.
or- Pardon?
It's within a quarter of an inch.
Of reduction?
Yeah,
Okay. And that's top, bottom, and sides?
correct.
Okay.
It's as close as we can get with today's windows.
It's just the term virtually. It just
I understand,
throws a little flag up.
yeah.
Good. Any additional questions? I believe this initially you're going through, was it the Community Preservation Committee for grant funding? Is that still the case with this, or?
Not with these windows,
these,
but we
okay.
are going to look at that for the replacement of the wood and repair for next year's grant. We just couldn't wait another year because of the amount of damage and the safety with the youth, and the windows won't even stay up, so.
Right, and that's the good thing about that program is any additional work on the exterior, if you wanted to replace or pull off the vinyl, odds are the original shingles or clapboards are still underneath that. That's an excellent use of the CPC grant funds for nonprofits. That's an excellent use for that. So, okay, great.
Good.
Do I have any questions on? No? So this would be also for a certificate of appropriateness.
Okay.
Okay, I have no
Motion to
questions.
approve?
All right, so I have a motion by
I'll second that.
John and a second by Ashley. All right, so this is for a certificate of appropriateness. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Joyce? Do you vote yes or no?
No, I don't.
Do you vote yes or no?
Second the motion?
No. We-
No, I don't have any questions.
We're just
Do you vote yes or
approving-
no?
We're approving the motion to provide them a certificate of appropriateness.
You want a motion to,
We've already had the
We already
motion.
have
I
the
just need your
motion.
vote, yes or no?
and you want me to second it?
No, I just need your votes.
No,
No, just a vote, yes or no. If
yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna where
Sorry.
you guys are going with this, because
I know, we're moving
this
right
is
along.
such an educational package. You know, I'm learning about what Trimline does, and I think Hilda, this has been an educational effort for you too.
Yes, it
This
has.
is quite a story.
Well, I have to say, the book was very helpful. I think last year we didn't have all of the information.
Right.
And Jason, thank you. I mean,
My pleasure.
you've been very helpful in communicating and getting us the information. And I have to
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
Roger as well for coming tonight, because I couldn't have answered half of those.
It's our pleasure. Windows is a hot button topic,
Yeah,
so.
so I was really lost in learning this. This is much more than when you first came with the proposal, and I wish you a lot of luck with it.
Thank you.
So I will forward, I'll send over the certificate of appropriateness, and you can, so that'll go with your building permit application.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Motion?
I'm just studying this package on
Yeah, it's
Windows.
interesting, I was reading it.
Really,
at
I
home.
was looking more for the warranty.
Mr. Chairman, could we
Yeah.
entertain a motion to move items 7 and 8 towards the end of the meeting
Okay,
and move on to the
So-
new business?
so we will renumber, okay. So this, we will renumber, so next will be, item 9 will be number
7.
7. Item 10 will be number 8. 11 will be 9, 12 will be 10, and then, right? Yeah, and then items 7 and 8 will be 11 and 12 respectively, okay.
Correct.
All right. I have a motion by Rick to move those items. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right. Motion by Rick and a second by John. This is to move some items around. All in favor on moving those items?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. All right. Thank you. So, so that would be the, now number 7 will, is under new business, 528 High Street. This is the Alfred Butterworth House, also in the Highlands Local Historic District. This is the expansion of a rear shed and relocation of the driveway from the north side of the structure to the south side of the structure. Hello, how are you? Good, thanks. And let me just pass these out. These are photos that were sent to us. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Did
I-
everyone
I
already
have some
print?
printed.
My goodness. Okay. Did you print these too? All right. If you wouldn't mind, just introducing or stating your name and your address, please.
Ruben Oliveira, 528 High Street.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind just going an overview of the project. A lot of work at the house.
Okay, yeah, I know. So it's basically demolishing the shed that's there,
Okay.
and making, so it doesn't get considered a shed anymore because we are planning to do a canopy attached. So the roof line is over the square footage.
Okay.
Previously, they had an awning on a porch or deck that's no longer there. We're gonna keep everything level with the pool.
Okay.
So it is to build a new, new shed with
Okay.
with a canopy attached to it.
Would this be considered, because of the square footage, would it be considered an accessory structure at that point?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is the shed going to remain the same in size? It's
no.
going to, the shed's going to be enlarged?
Correct.
Okay. To what size?
It's on.
It's on the
Nine.
It's on this? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
8 by 27.
Yeah.
Okay. And the materials on the outside will be.
So it'll stay consistent with the house, same
Okay.
thing. The first floor will be clapboard, and then the little peaks on will be shingles.
Shingle. In wood?
Correct. So the clapboard is Hardy Backer, so it's
Okay. A composite.
composite. Yep.
Okay. Composite, okay. And the shingle's wood, right?
Correct.
okay.
Yep. White cedar.
And so the reason why this came before us is because it is seen from the street, even though it is in the backyard,
Correct.
it's in the back of the property, but it's straight down the driveway,
Right.
or the current driveway.
So that, right, so that's
Yep.
the other thing. So, when we purchased the house, there was an easement there that got taken away.
Okay,
There used to be a carport on that side
Mhm.
of the driveway. And then after the easement was gone, the neighbors, the abutters, they moved the fence to the property line. So now that driveway became much narrower than what it used to be.
Okay,
So we have plans to move the driveway to the other side because it's almost twice the width. And then if that happens, then we'll also put a fence there, a wood fence, so you wouldn't see as much to the back.
oh, in front of the shed, you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
driveway would be turned into grass area like the other side, and then,
The fence will be put at the back end of the home,
maybe halfway.
halfway, okay,
Yeah.
where that side door is extended, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had a question. Now I can't remember what I was gonna ask. So regarding, just doing one thing at a time, with the shed, so ultimately it'll be covered by a fence. The fence will be made of
A wood.
Okay.
Yep.
Wood fence.
6 foot, most.
Similar in nature to your neighbor's fence?
Yeah,
or-
I'll match it, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's right. I just noticed that. Similar to. Okay. Do we have any questions for Mr. Oliveira?
No.
So this is regarding the shed. All right, so then regarding the driveway, what material are you gonna be paving it in?
Pavers, yep.
Pavers, okay. Brick, concrete,
Probably concrete. We haven't decided yet, but we'll definitely, we were juggling the idea of stamped concrete or pavers, but we're probably gonna go with pavers. Just because of the fact that it's gonna continue to the pool and just for maintenance wise,
Right.
it'll be easier to go with pavers.
I think in the design guidelines, I think it's recommended for no stamped concrete, I believe. I have to double check, yes.
Okay.
Um,
Alright.
And, but pavers, any type of paver, whether it's brick,
Okay.
cobblestone, that sort of a thing, so. So the the thing with the curb cut, that has to get approved by city council.
Right. Yep.
So that, essentially, you would be opening up that and then closing up
yep.
the other one. So for this, it would be a letter of recommendation to city council for the curb cut?
That would assist, yes,
Yep.
that would assist.
Okay.
And then,
And then obviously-
another approval to the building to
So-
get the new driveway. And traffic commission would probably be involved with that too, because they have to authorize the curb cut.
Okay.
So you're probably you should get a letter to the traffic board also. And then you're going to request a hearing with the traffic board. That's gonna be necessary to get it looked at and they're gonna evaluate the street for traffic. See if your new drive or new
So-
opening is gonna
so
impede
we're-
traffic.
Yeah, but we're not adding a driveway, we're just,
Moving it
Right,
over,
yeah.
yeah.
That's true, well, you're probably going to ask for a larger cut than the one that's existing.
right.
All right, so those things have to be approved by the traffic board, and then it goes to the city council.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll have to make two of those, and we'll get a letter to both,
Right.
and a letter to the building department would help with the shed and the fence.
Well, so that would be a certificate of appropriateness. So far I have 4 things. So letter of support for city council for the curb cut. Same thing for traffic. Certificate of appropriateness for the shed, certificate of appropriateness for the driveway.
Right.
Be busy.
Good job.
Okay, all right, all right. And then regarding the width of the driveway, how far away from the neighbors? I don't know the address, but on the left
So
side of the
I think
house.
we have about 22 feet. There's some bushes and plants that are planted there. What I'm gonna do is just, because obviously the grade is gonna lower.
Yep.
So I'm gonna make like a foot wall, a
Okay.
retaining wall there, so in my property. So
Okay.
the overall width is gonna be close to 20,
Okay.
so.
Has
That
that
will be-
been, provided to the building department, like you've met your offsets and all of that?
As far as the shed, yes, not as far as the driveway.
Gotcha.
All right. And when there's a curb cut presented to city council, do they need to address the abutters at that point?
Not
Not
that I'm
sure.
aware of.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
Not for a cut on his, in
Mhm.
front of his property, no.
Okay. All right. Any questions on this?
Just one on the pavers, it's gonna be, I'm familiar with the home that your sister, putting right down, was the rebuilt, very nice, historically correct, great job. Are those pavers gonna be your pavers similar in kind, or?
I don't think she'll allow me to go with this.
Okay.
No, but it's something well, like, within the same
But,
idea, yeah.
yeah, okay, keeping in that same context.
The interior and exterior designer's back there, so she'll pick up the papers.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, excellent. Any other questions at all?
no?
This is quite the project. The
know,
house
it's-
looks fantastic. I
It
mean,
does.
It's coming along.
earlier this year, it had no roof and,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been
Nice
1 year.
job on the color. That's
like
really a
yeah.
unique
Yeah.
color. Very, very nice,
This
yes.
is nice, yeah.
But, no, the color of the new color on the home.
Oh, it's
It's
different than
just
this?
starting to paint,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, starting,
so-
yeah. It's
I
gonna
like
be
this.
Like a light blue, yeah.
It's like
It's
It's
like
a,
light blue.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
So this,
So we're gonna do 3, 4 colors? Or it's gonna be 4 colors.
Four
Fun.
colors, good,
Fun.
keeping with the three, at least traditional.
yeah,
Good job, thank you.
looks like it really does look like a brand new house, but it's all, it's the same,
The outside,
everything.
everything is brand new. so
Yeah.
it should look like brand new house.
All right, so this would be, so the 4 things that I listed, a letter of support for city council for the curb cut, letter of support for the traffic commission, also regarding the curb cut, certificate of appropriateness, 2 of them separate, one for the shed, one for the driveway, so 4 items, that is being presented. Do we have any questions?
I'll make that as a motion.
A motion to
approve,
approve that
yes.
package
For all 4.
for all 4, okay. A motion by Rick,
I'll second. Oh,
Okay,
Ashley, take it.
Ashley, we'll do Ashley, all right. Motion by Rick and a second by Ashley to approve that package of the 4 certificates and letters. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'll send that right over to you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. So next on the agenda, formerly number 10, now item number 8, is 655 Rock Street. This is the Charles Luther House in the Highlands 40C Local Historic District. It is a, let's see, we're looking at a roof replacement. Hello. Hello. If you wouldn't mind just stating your name and where you're.
Steve Robidoux, Lighthouse Remodeling.
And Jim Holland, the property manager for James Fell.
Mr. Fell is the owner?
Mr.
Okay.
Fell's the owner, yep, he's out of state.
All right. Prop manager, and James Fell, you said?
James Fell, yep.
Okay, just jotting this down. Good evening. So if you wouldn't mind just giving us an overview of the project.
All right, we are proposing to remove the shingles on a roof, which are old 3-tap type of shingle.
Okay.
Remove that, strip it right down to the wood, tack down any wood that might be loose, that type of thing. Then we go along water and ice, grease water and ice on the dormers and into the valleys and everything like that.
Okay.
Covered, underlayment under it. We're working with, Duration, Owen Corning Duration shingles, which is probably one of the top shingles out there right now. They actually have a wind, barrier where you nail into on top of it, like a fiber, which actually gives about 120, 140 mile an hour wind back, wind for it. All new drip edge on the house, just to really bring the house, get some glory to it, what it should be looking like. But,
Okay. Is it similar to what is existing on the house currently?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, asphalt to asphalt, and
Yep.
then, one other thing I'm doing is, up in the top gutter, up on the right-hand side, they had a leak up there and that type of thing. So we're gonna repair or replace the gutter up there with like kind. And
Okay.
I do a lot of work out of Newport for Newport Restoration
Oh,
and all
wonderful.
that. So when I do it, it goes right back to where it was.
you know, like kind, I believe up there is wood.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what whatever it is, if it's birch or if it's cedar, I'll try to work with the same thing, but it'll look exactly the same when I'm done. I've got a couple of people that I've been working with for probably over the last 30 years. Not only can I get new, they have stuff loaded, in their warehouses, old pieces, so I can make it work. So it's gonna look exactly like it is.
Okay.
And the color of the roof shingles will be
Pretty similar, same color.
the green?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
got a green
yeah,
tint,
like a green tint to it. but like you said, it's a very good product that's going on it.
You sent Jason a sample, he may have sent Jason.
Oh, he
Yes,
might have?
yep,
Good.
pass it
Oh,
around, yep.
okay, great,
Yep.
thank you, I thought you were going to, but I wasn't sure if you did.
And for the ordinance, the preservation ordinance in the city, we can approve material, we
But not
cannot,
colors.
but not color. We cannot approve or deny an application based on roof color or paint color. But we can do that on material
We can
choice.
recommend.
We can recommend,
That just
but we
stay
just
with,
can't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's,
it's
well, yeah,
close
when
to
you
the
sent it in,
existing.
I think you said, so, yeah, it's the color that we're looking at,
Okay.
yeah. I act, go by the book, but I mean, like you said, whatever they're looking, and if he sent it in, he got the right one.
Okay.
He's not putting pink on or green or yellow.
Yeah.
I've done some of those.
Yeah. No, I've noticed quite a bit of work going on the house, which it's nice to see. So it's a fantastic colonial revival in the Highlands. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful house, it just needs to
Yeah.
get a little upgrade to it.
Sure.
Little-
okay. Do you have any questions?
I have no question.
Okay. So this would be for a certificate of appropriateness for the roof replacement. Okay.
All right, I'll make that motion that we give them a certificate of appropriateness to reshingle the roof,
Okay.
Thank you.
take care of gutter work.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
And
Okay, I'll second that motion.
thank you, Joyce. All right. Motion by Rick, second by Joyce for a certificate of appropriateness, 655 Rock Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, I will, Jim.
Steve.
I will forward the certificate over to you once I get that drafted up. So that certificate of appropriateness will be used for your building permit, or it goes with your building permit. So when
Yeah.
you go to the fifth floor, just have to hand that in when you're filing your permit, so at least they check off that. Because they'll look up the address and see that it's in the protected 40C district, which requires our approvals.
Correct.
Which now you have, so.
And how long does that take for your end to move into that?
I'll have it by the end of the week.
By the end of the week? Okay, so for next week, we could probably get it done.
Yep.
I've got some good weather coming in again.
I know, it's raining every weekend, so.
Yeah, it has. I've been looking to go up north to see the foliage, and
Yeah.
it's like, I looked at it now, North Conway, nope, right. It's like, I can't wait.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
All right, so, item number 11, which is now item number 9. This is municipal board assignments, for monitoring of items pertinent to the Historical Commission. We've done this before, but since the merging of the Historic District Commission and Historical Commission, we have not, followed through, or at least updated that. So, this is, basically getting onto, the email lists from the different, commissions, getting their agendas, anything that's pertinent to the Historical Commission to keep us updated, because oftentimes we're not kept in the loop on some things.
There's no need to attend all of these meetings.
Oh, no.
But what we'll do is you get on the agenda, so the agenda's mailed to you, and then if you see something that's pertinent to our Historic Commission, then you can either attend or let someone, or let Jason know, and we'll
Okay.
be involved.
So,
It's sort of a watchdog, the wrong word, but, we're sort of
Yeah.
watching our best interest here.
Gotcha.
so I will pass this, so I already received, the updates from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So there's a few others. I will put myself down on City Council. But if any of you wanna just go through and just put your initials down as to which board, and what I'll do is, I'll just forward the list to everyone, so they have their, what they wanna monitor. And does that make sense?
Yes.
How are we gonna get on it? Is there like information for us to?
So that is a great question. I think that would be an email to the city clerk's
Okay.
office, and Allison has all the contact information.
Okay, perfect.
Just a suggestion also, if you called Ann O'Neill Souza,
Oh,
the
yeah.
mayor's assistant, she will then call these chair people of
Right.
these various committees.
I think I got a missed call from her, so
Oh,
she's
there you go.
next when I'm done.
Yes, okay.
So if we wanna just pass that, and just go through and maybe just
Sure.
initial, and then, so that way we can,
Do you want anything
Okay.
in particular?
So that was that, yes. Oh,
The three that I'm listed on is because I'm presently doing that, and I'm on 2 of those commissions.
Okay.
so while we're doing that, it's just a, marking down. Can we move on to the next item?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So this is item number, well, it was item number 12, now 10. So this is the introduction of the Certified Local Government Program. And we have Jen Doherty here from the State Commission. Good evening. Thank you very much for your patience as well.
Yeah.
Get to see us in action.
Okay, no, that's good. So I'm Jen Doherty. I'm the Local Government Programs Coordinator at the Massachusetts Historical Commission. And so Jason had asked me here tonight to talk with you all a bit about the Certified Local Government Program. And I don't know, had you sent around that giant document
I did, yes.
sent you? Okay, yes.
It's like 30 or so pages,
It
yes.
is very long, but yes, kind of describes how the program works. So I'll just give a brief overview, and then I can take questions from you all if you want to talk about the application process or the program, or whatever the case may be. So the CLG program is a program of the National Park Service. It's been around since the 1980s. And it's basically an agreement between the National Park Service, the Massachusetts Historical Commission, and the local community. And it certifies that the local community has a higher level of preservation activity. So it has, a historical commission, a historic district that it oversees, other things going on in the community like, Community Preservation Act, or the commission's active with the demolition delay ordinance, or active doing survey. Just, different things to show that the commission is really kind of, in control, or, doing what they can with historic preservation in the community. There are a couple benefits of being a certified local government. The main one is funding. So Jason had mentioned at the beginning our survey and planning grant program. Part of that program is direct funding to the CLGs. So we receive money from the federal government every year from the Historic Preservation Fund. We are required to pass through 10% of that every year to our CLGs, and we do that through the Survey and Planning Grant Program. There are currently only 29 CLGs in Massachusetts. There's obviously 351 cities in town. So the 29 CLGs are applying for about $115,000 every year, whereas those other 351 minus 29 are applying for around $150,000 to $200,000 every year. So it's a much smaller pool of competitors in the CLG pot of money. So it's more likely that you'll receive funding every year. You can kind of do continuous projects. For example, Boston, Medford, and Marblehead, they've been going through their communities really comprehensively updating their survey. They get a grant every single year. They come in, and they've just been doing that, updating their inventory forms. So that's really the main benefit of being a CLG here in Massachusetts. Other than that, a couple other things that it entitles you to. It gives the community more of a role in the National Register process. So the National Register process will actually start with your commission instead of our commission. So your commission makes an initial eligibility determination, and then the process proceeds through a nomination. We more closely consult with our CLG communities in our review and compliance process. So we review projects under state and federal law. And so when communities a CLG, we really make sure we bring them in as a partner to really consult in the process. And those are kind of the big ones. I'm trying to think, I have one more. Oh, the technical assistance. So we do provide some additional technical assistance to CLGs. Right now, the way that we're doing that is we have purchased memberships to the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions for our CLGs. So that's a national organization that does a lot of training for preservation commissions. They have a biannual conference. They do a lot of webinars, those kinds of things. So we've been purchasing memberships for our CLGs through that organization. Those are the main benefits. I can talk a bit about the application process if you'd like.
Sure.
Yes, please.
So it looks very long in there. It looks very long and detailed, I know. And it's basically just so that we can kind of see what's going on, and not even necessarily us, but really the National Park Service, because they are the ones that's ultimately kind of agreeing to this. You know, what's going on in Fall River, what has your commission been doing, you know, over the, whatever, 40 years or so that there's been a commission in Fall River. So, you know, we look into the membership of the commission. We do like to see that there are some professional members on the commission. It doesn't need to be, you know, trained historic preservationists, but architect, attorney, realtor, historian, architectural historian, landscape architect, you know, those kinds of affiliated fields. Or even just folks who have some kind of general interest in history, you know, have lived in a historic house for a really long time, you know, those kinds of things as well. And then, you know, you have a local historic district, which is kind of the big hurdle for communities. That's, you know, we have to make sure that you have that. So we would just, you know, check your ordinance, make sure that's all set. And then it's sort of a description of, you know, what the commission does, what you've been doing over the years, and how the CLG program might benefit you. It's a little odd in that the agreement is actually with the community itself and not necessarily your commission. So it is something that's ultimately signed by the chief elected official, the mayor. But hopefully that's an easy process of, you know, kind of telling them it's a good thing. And once you have all the application materials together, it comes to me at MHC. I will review everything and, you know, let you know if there's anything missing. We have, I believe, 60 days. That's off the top of my head. I don't remember the exact number. To review it and make a decision on whether or not we think you're eligible for it to be a CLG or not. If we agree and think that you are eligible, we then send everything down to the Park Service. They're usually pretty quick. I think the most recent ones they've done within about 2 weeks or so.
Oh, wow.
They've concurred with our certification, so that's been pretty good. So yeah, that's the application.
So in terms of, how many, well, for professionals on the board, what's the minimum that you would?
We just would like to see something, you know, I
Okay.
did have a community that came in recently and, you know, the most that I could say about the folks was that they lived in a historic house.
Okay.
And that, you know, that we need something more than that, you
Okay.
know, and then it was like people who worked in like biotech or something. And
Sure.
it's like, that's not, you know, not quite what we need. We do need to see, you know, 3 or 4 folks who have some knowledge. And the reason for that is because, again, you then have a role in the National Register program. You have to make decisions about whether or not something is eligible for the National Register. So we want there to be some knowledge on the commission, you know, about historic resources.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know, you do need to be finding a professional to help you make those decisions, whether that's, you know, having a professional preservation planner or having to bring in a consultant to, you know, help you walk through that process.
Do you require then resumes, I would imagine?
Yep, and so part of the application process is submitting resumes. It can just be your regular resume. If you're an academic person, I do not need your 10-page CV. You can certainly shorten something down. I've had that come up quite a few times. And then if you're someone who just, for whatever reason, doesn't have a resume, you can certainly just write us a letter, sort of outlining your qualifications. So that's fine as well.
And that's from everyone on the board?
That's from everyone on the board, yep. And any, I don't see any staff here, so I don't think you have staff, but if there were sort of dedicated staff for the commission, we would want to see that.
We do have a clerk that's employed by the city.
Okay, well, I mean, if it's more like professional planning staff is what we usually look for then, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. It seems more daunting than it actually.
It is. So I will say, you know, when I worked in Framingham as their preservation planner, and we went through the process, and honestly, the resumes thing was kind of the hardest part of just trying to get,
Sure.
you know, and there they had 2 full commissions, and so trying to get resumes from, you know, 20 people was not fun. But that's kind of the hardest part.
Sure.
And I certainly, you know, I encourage you to send me a draft if you do decide to put together an application. Send me a draft and I can let you know ahead of time if there's, you know, anything that, you know, might want to just beef up a little bit or change. You know, I can certainly help with that.
That works.
Because again, it's ultimately going down to the Park Service. You know, we at MHC generally have an idea of what's going on in Fall River, but the Park Service doesn't, you know,
Right.
they, what's, you know, Fall River to them. So you just want to make sure that you're really, you know, making it clear, what's going on in the community.
Okay. Trying to think what the other question I had was, is there a application deadline at all?
Mm-mm.
It's just open?
It's just whenever you get it into me.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
excellent.
Is there a process for renewal? Like, how long does the certification last?
Yep, so there's two forms of review, I guess. So each year there is an annual report that needs to be submitted. And that, again, it's one of those things that's kind of time consuming, but basic, information, kind of about, were there changes in membership? How many meetings did you have? What kind of cases did you review? What kind of certificates did you issue? And providing some sample minutes and things like that. So that's the annual report that's done annually. And then we do a triennial evaluation, so every 3 years we do a larger evaluation. But for the most part, it's just kind of reviewing the annual reports, reviewing anything else we've kind of heard from the commission at MHC. What kinds of projects have you worked on? Have you applied for survey and planning grants? Have you done National Register nominations? That kind of thing. So looking at all of that. And then, certainly we have decertified communities before, but hopefully, everything's in line. We won't do that, so.
We've had some transition within a little over a year ago where we had the two separate commissions, Historic District Commission and Historical Commission. They merged in, I want to say, July of 2022. And how do you look at when? So I don't think we actually did file an annual report for 2022. I don't think, because that was not. Yeah. So is that something?
Nope.
Okay.
And so the annual reports that we get are actually completely separate from what
Okay.
you file with the city. We have our own format for that, so
Okay.
it's,
I was looking at the history of it, and it was not consistent with the, I guess, yeah, with the prior two boards. It was not consistent at all. So I think the last one that was filed, it was a while ago, but, yeah, so.
yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, as long as, moving forward, you're
Right,
on top of
exactly,
everything.
yeah, that's on my,
That's what we wanna
believe me, it's
see.
on my list, so, okay, and, I did notice, also, there was a line for rehabilitation work. Can you describe what, like, grants for rehabilitation work, what does that usually entail?
Not sure what that was referring to.
Okay.
I think one thing is that under the survey and planning grant program, usually for most communities, it is survey and planning work. So updating inventory forms, doing a preservation plan, doing new design guidelines, things like that. Certified local governments can apply for pre-planning work for physical preservation projects.
Okay,
So for example, right now Easton is a CLG, and their town hall is a former estate property, a former Ames estate. And they're actually doing a landscape plan
Okay.
for the state because they want to bring back some of the landscape elements. So because they're a CLG, they can do that under the survey and planning grant program rather than our Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund program, which is a different program.
and that could be used towards, as well as, like either structural or a feasibility study on a city-owned building?
Yep, something
Okay.
like that, yep. So, if you were like, oh, we wanna, we're gonna do some construction work at City Hall and we need to, think about plans or something like that, you could certainly,
It has to be historic, though.
has to be historic, yes. I'm
This
sure
is
this one is on the cusp.
It is historic, well, it's not listed on the registry yet.
Yeah.
Okay, just, it was a question, and so that, would that request or for grant have to come from the Municipal Historical Commission, not from the city?
It could be either,
Oh.
we get them from either one, usually it's the Historical Commission itself, but
Right.
if
Or
the
like a
city wants
redevelopment
to.
authority, or,
Yeah, if the city
Okay.
wanted to take on the project, I mean, they certainly could.
sure, okay,
You know,
all right, that's good to know, so it's open. All right, any questions
No?
at all?
No,
No.
it's-
This is good.
Good job,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, I think I had a question from, so I did invite members from the Mayor's Office, City Council, and then our Community Preservation Committee. Unfortunately, they were not able to attend. I did
Sure.
receive one question because he was not able to attend. This is from the City Council President, Joe Camara. It was in regards to the rehabilitation. There's on the National Park Service description of the CLG, it said something about rehabilitation work, so that's.
Yeah, so the money that comes from the National Park Service, we can use it for rehabilitation, but right now, the way that we use the money, we don't.
Right.
I will say, we do have our Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund, which is open to municipalities. It's state money, and it's a 50-50 matching grant that is out for municipal or nonprofit-owned buildings that are listed on the State Register of Historic Places.
Okay. And
What
that's-
amounts of monies are we discussing here?
It's,
Thousands or millions?
yeah, it's usually, well, not millions, certainly. It's usually in like the $50,000 range. Yeah.
Because it's a very heated project in the city, and it's a 12 to 15
Not
million
quite that
dollar
much.
project, so.
But-
A small piece of that,
But
perhaps.
that, it could be used towards like a
Sure.
feasibility study, I believe. So, and what was the name of that grant again?
The Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund, MPPF. And so that we usually announce, November, December time or so.
For the
So,
application
Yep.
open, okay.
Yep.
That's good to know. And then last question for me. In terms of the grants, is there like a limit or like a minimum limit or regarding?
So for the survey and planning grants, if you're doing a survey project where you're, documenting historic resources, the minimum is a $25,000 total project cost. Again, those are 50% matching, so the community does have to provide 50% of that, 12.5. I will say we have been encouraging communities to go a little bit higher, 30, 35. We do have a consultant shortage right now, and $35,000 is just a little more enticing than $25,000. We have a $25,000 project in New Bedford that we haven't found someone to do yet,
Wow.
so we're suggesting they go a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But
And so with the grant funds, say if our commission is awarded a matching grant and we're able to get the balance from, can the balance come from CPA funds or no?
that's a great question.
Okay, just out of curiosity.
So CPA funds are kind of a gray area. We do have communities that come in and use them for our survey and planning grants,
Okay.
and we have communities that come in and then their city solicitor tells them, no, they can't do that.
Okay.
Because technically the CPA legislation is for rehabilitation work. Some CPA communities use their administrative funds. You get that 5% yearly administrative funds. So we know some folks have done that because it's considered sort of a planning activity that can help the CPC make decisions about their projects locally. But it's a gray area.
Okay, sure.
Department of Revenue hasn't shut down any community yet, I will say,
Okay.
they haven't said anything to any specific community. And like I said, we do still have communities that come in, but, yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of a gray area,
Cool, great.
unfortunately.
No, that's.
And what
makes
would
sense.
make it also gray is the type of project.
Yeah.
Because it might be a land preservation or a
Yeah.
building preservation, so in that aspect, the money could be used.
For that, yep.
Is there a limit? If we were to receive grant funds, I would imagine we would have to go through the standard protocol of putting an RFP out and so forth.
We
but-
help with that whole process, yeah,
Oh, great.
for the survey and planning grants, we do a lot of hand-holding for communities,
Sure.
we get communities all across the state, very small ones to, our major cities.
Yeah.
So we definitely do a lot of hand-holding through the whole consultant selection process.
Okay, that's good, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as we're finding, and we're going through, a lot of our Form Bs have not been updated since the 1980s, but I would imagine that's the case across the
That's the
state.
case, yep, pretty much in
Yep.
every community, so,
And
yep.
we have the unique situation of having many fires that have burned down City Hall, so a lot of historical records are very hard to find.
Gotcha, yeah.
So, yeah, okay,
Yep, so we could certainly help with that through the survey and planning grant program.
great,
Yep.
cool, excellent. Any questions at all?
No, actually, do you have any consultants in your list that do archaeology sites?
Archaeology folks, I am not as familiar with them just because I don't do as much archaeology. But if you contact our office and give an idea about what kind of a project it is, they may be able to suggest a few folks.
Okay, good, thank you.
I used to work for one.
That's right, PAL, right?
I was gonna say, that is the most obvious one, yes,
Yeah.
for down here, yes, is PAL, but yeah.
And that's exactly who I had in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cool, yeah, because we have projects, so we're
Yep.
early in the stages of trying to expand our local 40C.
Yep.
So we have 40, it was 47, there's a subdivision, so now there's 48 buildings, so. But we're looking to expand that. Obviously, we would love to have, there's a whole area of the northern part of Fall River that was just not surveyed at all in the 80s, and so it is, in my professional opinion, definitely eligible for National Register consideration.
Yep.
So it's, things that we just need to start
Yep, yep.
focusing on.
Yeah.
Lots of projects.
Yeah, and that's, so, yeah, certainly if, the CLG program kind of, like I said, allows you to come in, year after year and just kind of move through the city.
Great.
And get everything done, yeah.
Is there a benefit for developers if they're using historic tax credits if they're in a CLG?
No, it doesn't really apply. The only thing that really changes is, again, if the building is not currently listed on the National Register, that process would start with you all first and then come up to
Okay.
us, and not
That's
starting
great.
with us, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, excellent. Any other questions at all?
No.
Very informative, thank you.
The getting registered on the National Register can be quite lengthy.
It is, yes. It is not a short process.
And quite costly.
It is, yes.
Yes.
Yep, yes. Yeah, so, and I will say the other thing for the city council and the mayor's office, the one question I do get from them a lot of times is kind of like, well, what's the, where's the catch here, whatever, and there honestly really isn't. It doesn't cost the city anything to be a CLG, it's not like a membership or anything. And, they're not responsible for anything, nothing's going to happen, Again, the worst that happens is you don't do anything, you don't file your annual
Yeah.
reports, and we decertify you, and, that's kind of that. So, that is always the other question is,
Okay.
Where's the catch? And, there really isn't one, so, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good.
Great.
All right.
Any
Thank you.
questions? Yes, thank you very much for
Thank you.
making the
For your
trek down.
time.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you for your
Wonderful.
time.
Thank you,
And always, if anything else comes up, certainly let me know.
absolutely, thank you. Right, so we're jumping back into, so this would be formerly item 7, now item 11. This is an update on the Form Bs in Steep Brook,
Okay,
and that is Rick, all Rick.
all right. Okay, well, I'll sit right here because it's all part of being on this historic commission. So, we have Roger Williams University, as you're aware, has volunteered, and they're in the process of doing creating Form Bs for the Steep Brook area. They've chosen 22 properties, and a number of them are on our significant structures list. The process is actively, really very active. They've been meeting in the city. They met last Thursday in the library. They're gonna be back this Thursday in the library, and the following Thursday in the building commissioner's office, checking permits.
Oh, okay.
So that's really working well. Unfortunately, the Historical Society in the city is shut down because of rehabbing and remodeling, so they're unable to get through that. But they'll look at the Sanborn files, and again, there's a tremendous amount of information in the library that's being worked at. And the building department also has permitting, so you can go back quite far on a piece of property with permits. So the city itself, the building commissioner, Glenn Hathaway, is very helpful. And
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
And they're going to have these records available, and Glenn has stated that it's entirely up to them as to what they need and require, and he will give them as much assistance as possible.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's gonna transpire on the 26th, I believe, is the 2 Thursdays away, and that's the date that they'll be in the city hall working on this project. It could take a couple of Thursdays to accomplish. The main reason I'm bringing it up is to give you this information. That's the Steep Brook area, which is going along well. We did receive a grant. The Historic Commission applied to the CPU and received the grant. It was extended because it lay dormant just because of the person who was actively pursuing this passed away. And we sort of, I took Mike Labasier, myself, took this funding and started running with it to get this done. And there are approximately 98 sites over in the bioreserve on the other side of Fall River. And as you're aware or not, probably half of the land of Fall River is situated on that eastern part of the pond. And I was actually, I've been with Mike, and he's just this man is just a world of knowledge in that bioreserve area, and what's to be preserved there is amazing. So part of this grant is going out as we speak. Our planning board director, Chris Parana, is actively putting out a request for proposals for funding to take care of a portion, the remaining portion of the Steep Brook. What's not being done, there are 22 additional buildings or properties that are on the significant structures list in the Steep Brook that are not being looked at by Roger Williams University. So we're gonna take, hopefully, some of this grant money to get that portion completed. If not, it looks like Roger Williams will next year go back and do the other 22. So we're going to get it accomplished one way or the other, which is really a great thing. And we also want to stop preserving what's over on the bioreserve so it doesn't get destroyed. There's historic sites that goes back. There's, I just heard that Chief Phillips was, when he was up there.
Oh, King Philip.
King Philip,
Yep.
yeah. When he was chief, he had his last formal meeting, I guess, and I guess they didn't call them festivals in those days, but they had their meetings. And there was a platform. It was all stone built. It was, I guess, rather nice. And what happened as history goes, when you had the civilian corps come in the CCCs in the 30s, went in and actually destroyed it all. They drilled it, blew it apart, and passed all the stone, brought it down to the edge of the water and just deposited it there. Well, he being Mike Labasier, actually researched that with a group, and they started finding where the stone, the actual site.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to bore you, and I know
It's a
we're
mission. No,
this
running
is
short of
fascinating,
time,
yeah.
but he established a number of people, they all 50 foot apart, and walked down Blossom Road towards the pond.
Wow.
Till someone found something that was interesting, and that's when they found this. And then they researched it, and you could see where it was blasted, blown away, and again, they found the stone. So the writings and the history of that is actually factual, you know. So it's another site that can be
Yeah.
Enhanced and recorded. And all of these sites at this point are not. None of that's recorded in any city documents. So that's what we're trying to get accomplished. What I would like today is, I have to get back to, we have we call it a memorandum of understanding. Roger Williams calls it a MOA, memorandum of agreement. And we're gonna sign this in talking with the planning board director. He felt it was best that we here at the Historic Commission just sign the paperwork for the Steep Brook, because there's no cost to the city, and it's really a historic commission project. So what I would like to do is just get a vote, take a vote. I'd like to make a motion that we agree to get Jason to sign the form so I can get this back to Professor Elaine Stiles. And any questions on this bioreserve and the Steep Brook process? we're gonna get well entrenched. A lot of Form Bs, actually across in the bioreserve, I think they call that Form As because it's land, Form
area,
Bs are
yep.
buildings. So what we're gonna do is, actually get a lot of Form B experience, so that when we start expanding the commission, the 40C district, we're gonna be well entrenched. So it's working out very well, it's giving us a good education and getting us a good push in the right direction.
Does the bioreserve, does that also include the area around Interlochen?
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
We're gonna do.
There's a lot there.
Yes, there is.
If you haven't been
Gordon
out
Estate.
that way, actually, I think Mike has done the tour out there a few times.
Yes, he has.
It's fascinating. It's the old estate of Spencer Borden, and he had a giant mansion that was on the banks of the well, it was all one pond at one point, before it was the reservoir. And when his property was seized, it was after his death, the property was seized by the water department so they can create the reservoir system. And so the property was seized, the mansion was demolished, but the roadways are still, the dirt road of what was New Boston Road still exists with the stone walls, and the foundation of his estate is still there. And so once in a while, he'll do a tour. Usually in the winter, it's a lot easier in the winter, because it's just so overgrown with trees and different plants right now. But it's fascinating to see. Yeah.
Historically, it is fascinating, and I'll give you a piece of data that I just acquired myself. It's just explained to me. There is, in the North Watupper Pond, over on the, I guess it would be on the east side, but on the west side of the water, of the
Yeah.
land, on the east side, there's a stone. And in the stone is a brass rod with a marker, right? And that marker is a gauge, and that gauge was used to mark the property lines. There were 6 large mills around the north and south Watupper ponds. And that marker was the gauge to measure the height of the mills and how they would set their first layer, layer of foundation height in order to use the water successfully. And the marker is still there, and they actually would determine property lines along the shoreline. So your property line, in saltwater, it's high tide, okay? Well, in freshwater, where's the shoreline? Is it there? Well, gee, when the pond is full, it might be here. So where's the shoreline? Well, that marker was the gauge. So you knew where your shoreline was, and it's still in existence today.
That's great.
Yeah, isn't that something? And now that's another piece of history that should be preserved for Fall River. And that goes back, I mean, we're going back a few hundred years when that marker was put in there, so amazing. huh?
Excellent. This is great. Thank you, Rick.
So
Fascinating.
could I make a motion
yes.
that we approve the signing, that Jason signs the MOA, so I get returned to Professor Stiles?
I'll
with
second
that?
the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion by, I'm sorry, who motioned? Motion by Rick, and a second by Joyce. This is for the approval, or the approval of a letter, an MOA.
Not a letter, I have the MOA here.
Oh, the MOA.
Just to
Yeah,
sign
yeah.
it.
Oh, this is just to
A
sign.
memorandum a memorandum.
And this is
of
with Roger Williams
understanding,
University?
yes.
Okay.
So we'll just sign that, and we'll be
Okay.
ready to go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay. Any opposed? No, all right. No, this is great.
Someone wants to just look at.
And it's, meant to ask, is this, are they, obviously they're in the preservation program at Roger Williams. Is it the undergrad or the grad program?
This is the undergrad.
Undergrad, oh, good, okay.
Yep, yep.
It's my alma mater.
And if anybody wants to take a quick look, this is
That too.
the
I forget
memorandum.
that.
That's, somebody's gonna take a quick through that. And this is the paperwork that Chris Pagnana is getting together to go out for an RFP. So if you just wanna take a quick look, pass it around.
The program at Roger Williams, the preservation program, it's the oldest undergraduate program of its kind in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And the oldest graduate, I think, is at Cornell or Columbia, one of those two. But it's also one of the only programs, preservation programs, within the context of the School of Architecture. So there's a big emphasis on research and building documentation, and my goodness, Elizabeth and I are both from
Skips my
that
house.
program, so we have a lot of research time, I'm
Those
sure.
are
So.
those are the remaining properties on
Okay.
Steep Brook.
Yeah.
That'll be done next year. So you can just take a look and pass that
Excellent.
down.
Okay.
Do you wanna see that? Sorry.
So let's see. I'll let you review that, and then we will move on to the
This is
next
just if
item.
you wanna see the historic locations in the bioreserve. That's a list of the historic sites. Pass that down.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Rick. While you're looking through that, should we move on to the next item? It's just an update.
Expansion, yes.
Expansion.
Yes.
Okay, so this was item 8, now item 12, regarding the expansion of the Highlands Local Historic District. I did provide you a copy of, the full copy of the Establishing Local Historic Districts, publication from the Massachusetts Historical Commission. So Connie was to provide the copy of, or the copy of the letter. I will have you look first. A copy of the letter from, that was initially mailed out in 2013, I think it was, for the initial creation of for the study committee anyways, and she could not find it. So she thinks the Preservation Society of Fall River might have a copy, but they haven't looked yet. My suggestion is that we use the sample that it is listed in that booklet. We use the sample, we obviously alter it so it suits our situation in Fall River. And, I had 6 copies printed, I don't have mine with me, but, so there's a sample letter in there, we just have to change the vocabulary around. And once we have that drafted, we can make maybe at our next meeting, we can vote to approve the letter. We do need to figure out an area of focus. So the next meeting, I will have a map of the neighborhood. I'll have a couple maps. I'll have one of the immediate neighborhood, say like a few blocks within the existing boundaries. I will get another map of an even larger if we decide to go that route. And that will also dictate what is in our wheelhouse. If we're able to do a smaller one, if it's a larger one, then we might need to take up, maybe apply for a grant or something of that nature to focus on that. But at least then we have an idea of where the letter will go, and we'll draft up I'll ask Carrie to mail that out to addresses. We'll just have to compile a list within the boundary lines. So, in fact, it's, funnily enough, Jennifer Doherty, who was here earlier, is in charge of the local historic district ordinance with the state, so ultimately any expansion will go to her as well. So, yeah.
Would it be too cumbersome or premature to start looking at a combination of a group and probably single dwellings that are situated throughout the city where people might want to put their home in a 40C?
So if we're expanding expanding the Highlands Historic District, I believe it has to be contiguous. I think that's the word. If there are homes in the district that would be far outside of the boundary line, that we can nominate, or at least create basically a study at that point to create an individual. So individual properties can get listed as a local historic, technically a local historic
I guess my
district.
question would be, do we want to approach both avenues at this same time, or do we want to just stick with staying with the group?
I think maybe sticking with the group, just because if we do individuals, it wouldn't be able to, within the current boundary lines, I think we would have to expand those lines and they would have to be connected somehow. And individual properties would have to be individually, any individual properties would have to be individually listed as a separate historic district. Yeah, if they're not connected to the Highlands 40C boundary line. That's how I'm understanding it. So, like, for example, and it has to follow the same theme. For example, if we wanted to explore doing a local historic district on mid-century houses of Fall River, there's a lot, all on the north end. You know, we can do that. They don't have to be connecting, but they have to follow that theme of mid-century, because you will not find a neighborhood, you know, it's very rare to find a neighborhood of, you know, one solid block of mid-century houses. Or if there's a theme of, you know, a specific architect that might be significant that, you know, we can focus on, we can do a theme like that. Or mill housing, for example. So there's different avenues to go with, but for the Highlands 40C, it's pretty, the boundary lines are pretty set with the, I guess, the scheme, I guess, or the schematic of the plan. Does that make any sense? Okay.
Yeah, just, my comment was
Yeah.
only to see if we wanted to undertake both avenues simultaneously, because one is, and I fully understand here what you're saying, they're sort of separate components.
Right. I mean, we could, and see if there's any individual ones, then we would have to, we would have to address those, separately. They would have to be separate. So this is pertaining to the Highlands, so we would have to do a completely separate, different study on that, but yeah, we can do that. If there's any properties in particular that you're thinking, the grand scheme of or at least the size of the 40C comparable to the actual National Register district that it's in, it's night and day. Like, the 40C is very small, the National Register is quite large. It extends all the way up Highland to about, I wanna say Stanley or Weedham or one of those streets. It doesn't go it doesn't go far back, it doesn't include Hanover, Madison, out that way. I don't know if it even includes, I think it does include North Park. But nothing on President Ave up Seven Hills does not include that. So it's very, like, linear up Highland Avenue. But then, once you get down towards Charlton, it splits off, and then it goes down towards, down to about, I think, June Street, I wanna say, at the bottom of the hill, and then down to about Cherry or Walnut, the southern end of the district, so it is quite large, and it
Yeah.
broadens out. So, okay. So that's the update that I have so far. So we could, I can use the sample letter, draft it, or if somebody wants to take up that, you know, I welcome any suggestions. If anyone wants to draft the letter, I'm happy to do it myself, and then we can tweak it at our next meeting. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that's the update for that.
I can start like a draft and send it over to you, and
Okay.
then,
Cool, excellent, thank
does
you.
that work?
Yeah, that works for me, thank you. Great, and there was a delay in getting the design guidelines out from the planning office, so they all went out. There's a lot of, there are some houses that had changed ownership, and I was going back and forth between, I got a list from the assessor's office, but I'm like, nope, this is not correct. So I had to go back and forth with a few houses, but it's all good. So those all went out. And let's see, so that is it. So I did get a request, this is not on the agenda, but I did get a request today from City Council President Joe Camara. He is asking for an opinion of the Historical Commission with regard to the Bank Street Armory sale. They have a meeting, I believe it's being brought up on Tuesday, the 24th. He has asked for an opinion. It does require a vote from us. We're not prepared to do that. I have asked for backup, I need background information on it. So once I have that, it would have to be a public meeting, but I believe we can do that virtually. And it would be considered a special meeting. I believe we just need 24-hour notice on that. So I will contact Alex for a list of virtual dates and availability. So it would be between, what's tomorrow? Wednesday, so it'll be between, I don't really want to do a meeting on Friday, but either Thursday and or Monday. So I will send an email just looking for availability on that. And this is, so we could present it to City Council. They have a meeting on Tuesday, the 24th. So ideally Thursday would be preferable, just so we can meet their deadline of material. But he's looking for an opinion of the Historical Commission with regard to the sale of that building. So, yeah, it is a hot topic in the city right now. So, yes. All right, so then with that, anything else? A long meeting tonight. Anything that should come on the agenda next month? No. Oh, that's the other thing. So we are tentatively scheduled to meet Tuesday, November 22nd, 2023. That is Thanksgiving week. Is that going to cause an issue if we meet that week?
Not with me.
Not that Tuesday?
No.
No?
No,
Okay,
fine.
so we will stick with the 21st. Okay. All right, so, with that said, I would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:31 PM. We will be meeting next, our regular scheduled meeting on Tuesday, November 21st, 2023.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you,
Second the motion.
Elizabeth. All right, a motion by Rick, a second by Elizabeth to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.